in the media conference with Lal Goyal, which is brought to you by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon se, Samvad Sarokar News, Organ Donation India Foundation and Gyan. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. And today's topic is not only current, but very, very important. And the topic is role of youth in curbing noise pollution. But before I will go on the main topic, I would like to inform you that today the world is observing International Day of Innocent Children Victims of Aggression. Is a International Day of Innocent Children Victims of Aggression is a United Nations observance held on June 4th every year. It was established on 19th August 1982, originally focused on victims of the 1982 Lebanon War. Its purpose expanded to acknowledge the pain suffered by children throughout the world who are the victims of physical, mental, and emotional abuse. This day affirms the United Nations commitment to protect the rights of children. Media conference with Lal Goyal hopes that by observing this day, we are showing our commitment to stand with children who are the victims of physical, mental, and emotional abuse and try our best to protect the rights of children. Now coming to the main topic, that is the role of youth in curbing noise pollution. Noise is unwanted sound considered unpleasant, loud, or disruptive to hearing. From a physics standpoint, noise is indistinguishable from desired sound, as both are vibrations through a medium such as air or water. The difference arises when the brain receives and perceives a sound. Noise affects people in many ways, but only deafness and annoyance receive actual interest from the general public. Noise pollution, also known as environmental noise or sound pollution, is the propagation of noise with ranging impacts on the activity of human or animal life, most of them harmful to a degree. The source of outdoor noise worldwide is mainly caused by machines, transport, and propagation systems. Poor urban planning may give rise to noise disintegration or pollution. Side by side. Industrial and residential buildings can result in noise pollution in the residential areas. Some of the main sources of noise is in residential areas include loud music, transportation, traffic, rail, airplanes, etc., lawn care, maintenance, construction, electrical generators, explosions, and people. Documented problems associated with noise in urban environments go back as far as ancient Rome. Today, the average noise level of 98 decibel exceeds the WHO value of 50 decibel allowed for residential areas. High noise levels can contribute to increased risk of cardiovascular diseases. Scientists from the University of Gothenburg found that high noise levels increase an individual's pulse rate and cause constriction of blood vessels, thus making him or her vulnerable to heart attacks or high blood pressure. Psychological disorders, research shows that too much noise makes people irritable, nervous, irrational in decision making, socially aloof, unproductive at work. It can even lead to emotional instability. Poor sleep habits. Excessive noise can spoil a person's sleep schedule. Noise pollution is one of the major environmental concerns in India today, and sadly, many are unaware of the hazards it can cause. It is very unfortunate that we all are subjected to some form of loud noises for a considerable amount of time during the day. It is a daily dilemma to bear with the unnecessary havoc created by the blowing of horns on the roads, the madness created by the loudspeakers, the festive time expressions of happiness, any processions being carried out through the streets, the too much of background scores of Indian melodramatic serials creating a mess in almost every household, and innumerable other sources we can't even think of. It seems like people have a major perception about happiness which they think can better be expressed by creating loud noises. Even a childbirth in rural areas is informed by cracking sounds created by kitchen utensils. Nowadays, apart from Diwali, whether it is a marriage or it's about winning any match, bursting loud crackers has become a norm. Unless you don't blow away the eardrums, you are not happy. A study conducted to measure the levels of noise in 4 different zones by the Central Pollution Control Board revealed that the highest noise levels during the day were recorded from silence zones, including educational places, hospitals, religious spots, whereas the lowest was recorded in residential areas. During the night, the highest pollution level were found to be in intersecting areas and the lowest was in all the industrial area. As per the study conducted on noise levels due to Diwali firecrackers by Awaz Foundation, I would like to inform all our viewers that this Awaz Foundation is founded by our chief guest, Ms. Sumaira Abdul Ali, who is going to be speaking about this problem and who fought for this problem tooth and nail. So by Awaz Foundation, along with the Maharashtra Pollution Control Board, following 4 consecutive years, the noise pollution reached to over 125 decibel. This is a saddening fact that this is never mentioned on the packaging of these products. Even the authorities are made aware about the situation, yet they don't work on them. Now, question is how to reduce noise pollution. You can reduce noise pollutions by following. You can turn off home and office appliances when not in use, such as TV, games, computers, etc. It can create unnecessary stress on ears. You can save electricity also when you turn them off. Shut the door when using noisy machines. You can shut the door after you turn on dishwasher or washing machines for rooms where it is kept, or you can turn them on before leaving the house so that overlapping of exposures to loud noises can be reduced. Use of earplugs or ear muffs can bring down loud noises to a manageable level. You can listen to songs, radios, TVs in a lower volume when listening from headphones or speakers. You can plant more trees as they are good noise absorbents. According to studies, it can reduce noise by 5 to 10 decibels around them. You can notify government agencies or NGOs if someone is not following rules and regulations regarding noise levels. Now, to understand the role of youth in curbing noise pollution, we have a panel of 7 youth guests, and we have our chief guest of today's program. And our chief guest is a very, very renowned environmentalist, and she is none other than Miss Sumaira Abdul Ali. Miss Abdul Ali, welcome to our show. Miss Abdul Ali is the convener of Awaz Foundation, Mumbai. Miss Sumaira Abdul Ali is an environmental activist focusing on sand mining and noise pollution. She is the founder of NGO Awaz Foundation. Sand mining, which has now become an issue of global concern, was first reported by her to the authorities after she noticed sand being illegal mined from Keem Beach in 2004, where she was physically attacked during a sand mining site inspection. Thereafter, she convened an NGO movement for protection of public interest activities, movement against intimidation, threat, and revenge against activists, MITRA, and filed the first public interest litigation against sand mining, resulting in policy change at state and national level. She helped bring sand mining to notice worldwide by participating in documentary films and awareness campaigns and contributing to print, radio, and television news. She participated in the first roundtable of the GRID, Geneva United Nations Environment Program, and gave her inputs to their first report, Sand and Sustainability Findings, New Solutions for Environmental Governance of Global Sand Resource. Her work was featured throughout in the final report published in May 2019. Her other focus campaign against noise pollution has become a citizens' movement and has forced policy change in India through court interventions, awareness, and advocacy campaigns. A High Court order pursuant to her public interest litigation protects a wildlife corridor frequented by tigers, elephants, and other wildlife. The Samantwadi Dodamar corridor connects national parks and is parts of the Western Ghats, a UNESCO biodiversity hotspot. Ms. Somera was co-chairman of the Bombay Natural Histories Conservation Subcommittee. She was honorary secretary of the BNHS. She was honorary secretary of the BNHS and is currently a governing council member. Ms. Somera's work has been extensively reported by the press and media. She has participated in documentary films, television, and radio nationally and internationally. Her columns have been published in Times of India, Mumbai Mirror, DNA, Outlook India Magazine, and Dainik Bhaskar. She writes a monthly columns for Forbes India. She has spoken and presented her work at numerous TEDx events at universities, including Harvard University, Boston, IITs, Anjuman-e-Islam, Delhi University, Bombay University, BITS Pilani, Sholoni University, and other youth and community organizations. She has been awarded the Mother Teresa Award for Social Justice, the Olive Crown Award, and is on Ashoka, and she is an Ashoka Fellow. Welcome, Ms. Somera Abdul Ali on our show. आपका बहुत-बहुत स्वागत है हमारे show Media Conference with Lal Goyal में. Ms. Somera Ali, although you don't require any introduction, but because the public should know globally that what you have done. And I still remember when I was in Mumbai, because of you, the curve for 10 p.m. and so many things have come so that the people at least in Mumbai and in all the metros and other cities, this was then nationally implemented. So she is the one who has put all of our life very easy so that no loudspeaker or firecrackers can play after 10 p.m. So I am very happy that the 7 youths who are joining and seeing you online and others viewers who are watching you are very much honored today to see you. So now, Ms. Somera Abdul Ali, we would like to know from you the role of youth in curbing noise pollution. Ms. Somera Abdul Ali, please.
Thank you very much. You said I don't need an introduction, but that was quite an introduction. And, I'm very pleased to be here. I'd like to contradict you and just say that it's not me alone. It's actually the whole city of Mumbai and especially the youth who have made that 10 p.m. deadline happen. So I think that the youth have a very important role to play. And I'm just kind of coordinating some of those efforts, including yours here today. So, during lockdown, things have changed a lot. So I've worked for many years on the ground, trying to collect data, do all those things which will help implement and inform policy on noise and implementation of noise. But during lockdown, everything changed and I became pretty handicapped because it's, first of all, noise reduced a lot, which is a great thing. But also the possibility of generating data and stuff like that is very reduced when you're stuck at home. So I started writing more and we've called that Awaaz for Action, which includes court cases, which have all gone online now, many of them, and other stuff which can be done sitting at home. So I'm addressing you today in the context of work that has been done on the ground and which will be done on the ground again in future, but also sitting at home. And that's something I think which the youth are really great at because they know how to use computers.
Yes, please go ahead.
Before we started this program, I was fumbling with the technology. And so I need help with technology and I need help in putting it further. And that's where, I hope you guys are going to build on my work. So that's Awaaz for Action. Anybody who wants to take action is a member of Awaaz. There is no formal membership. It's just to make the change happen, the difference happen. That's what it's about. In March 2021 was the World Hearing Day and the UN came out, the WHO came out with the very first app, which sitting in your home on your mobile phone, you can measure your hearing. And they also said that the youth are more impacted than ever before. The UN has said that younger and younger people have similar levels of hearing today as people over 60 had. And of course, over 60s have really terrible hearing like me, which has not been helped by my activism on noise pollution, where I'm constantly exposed to noise. But younger people have hearing loss because of their recreational activities, particularly headphones, loud music, and things like that, which they're not aware of. So today, sitting at home, you can measure your own hearing using downloading this app made by Who. It's a free download, just like the download to measure noise is also free, and I'll come to that in a minute. But it's important to start with knowing what is noise pollution. And we can go on and on explaining what is noise pollution. But I think when you see it in how your own hearing is impacted, that's the best answer of all. It will tell you what is noise pollution and what it is doing to you. This is the decibel level at a festival in Mumbai, 123.2 decibels. These street festivals take place all the time, and they have reduced dramatically over the years because people have become more aware. But these kind of decibel levels can give you hearing loss within a few seconds. And I have seen children, especially even infants, having their ears pressed up against loudspeakers with this volume. This is what the WHO says in its first ever report, 3rd March 2021. It said that 430 million people globally are set to lose hearing by 2050. You can see that in the categorization of different shades of red, India and its surroundings have the darkest shade. And that's because the maximum hearing loss is here. The reason could be, I mean, of course, headphones and things are things which are used by the youth globally. But here we have additional sources of noise because our background noise levels are so high that we speak louder. We need to listen to music louder on a regular basis. If we're sitting in a train, we have to drown out the sound of the train. If we're walking down a road, we have to drown out the sound of the road. Dr. Harshvardhan, our Union Health Minister, addressed this meeting, and he said that India is facing an impending mountain of hearing loss. So it is known, it is acknowledged. He also said that we have been taking action and we are going to take action against this. But the government alone cannot take action. It's a social cause, it's a social issue, it's a habit. Habits have to change as times change. Noise pollution is something which in previous years, Mr. Lal Goel mentioned ancient Rome, but in previous years, perhaps it did not impact the same number of people that a single noise source can impact today. That's because Indian cities with our Indian population are among the densest in the world. So a single noisemaker will harm the health of thousands, sometimes lakhs of people. I mean, somehow I became the voice against noise, but I've not been alone. This is a presentation made to the then Chief Minister of Maharashtra along with the Maharashtra Pollution Control Board. So from starting by people laughing at me that this is not even an issue, Indians love noise and we don't know what you're talking about. We have come to a stage in the last 20 years where now everybody knows that yes, there is something called noise. Maybe we don't quite know how to tackle it yet, but there is definitely something called noise. And in fact, globally, also where it's a highly neglected issue compared to other pollutants, the world is coming round to calling noise the new secondhand smoke and the emerging health crisis of our world. So people ask me, aren't you afraid when you go out on the streets and start measuring noise? And I say, well, you know, everybody is concerned with their own health ultimately. If you know it's going to impact you, coronavirus has given us a reason to even more closely define how health is a reason to change your habits, your way of living. And it's come to us in a very ghastly way, not in a way that we could want, but in a different way. This has been my experience all through. These are people who have been in the midst of celebration, but they have stopped and they have asked me what I'm doing and they have showed concern about whether they're too loud and whether that's going to impact them. So that's very heartening, and it shows you, Mumbai has been an example which shows you how people respond, and although it takes time, how you can make this kind of behavioral change. So what are the sources of noise? I mean, I just very quickly go through them. Of course, traffic is a leading source of noise. It's the most important source of noise, which gives you very high levels throughout the year. Although, and it goes up to even 110 decibels. Leading car manufacturers, German, Korean, and others, make it a point of pride to sell extra loud horns for India because they say that Indians like noise and we need these stronger and louder horns. These horns at decibel levels up to 110 dB would not be permitted in their home countries because they're just too loud. Not only do we have louder horns, we use them constantly. Our driving schools teach us to use a horn in place to replace safety equipment like brakes. Um, we think that by blowing the horn, the traffic will magically clear. But when I was traveling in Bihar, I asked a driver of a taxi there whether anyone had ever moved because he was blowing the horn permanently. And he said, "Nahi, madam, kaun sunta hai?" And I said, the horn is making your roads less safe, not more, because it is reducing its efficacy as a safety device when it's being used constantly. Trains, I measured decibel levels in trains after people complained. During lockdown, the levels of trains, the sound level from platforms of trains actually increased. Perhaps it could be that people's perception increased because road traffic noise had reduced. But the announcements on train platforms in Mumbai continue through the night and the volume is not reduced. People who live near these stations cannot sleep. They are preset from a central location and they show no regard for anyone living nearby. So this is something which is not really being looked at very much, but needs to be. Aviation, when helicopters and helipads were planned on the rooftop of buildings, we objected because we measured the sound level of helicopters and found, and which later the Maharashtra Pollution Control Board confirmed, that helicopters while taking off and landing measure up to over 120 decibels. This kind of level of decibel level means you can neither speak nor watch TV nor talk on the phone nor hear anything, and it's making you deaf in your own home. Even if you, maybe some people have the ability to completely soundproof their home, who have these luxuries on their rooftops, but the average person whom they live right next door to does not. And so the ministry was kind enough to listen to us and to ban helipads on private buildings of all kinds. Of course, heliports where people can go at a short distance and use them if it's in a more open space would be permitted, and that should be allowed because helicopters have other important uses, including medical uses. Metro lines. So the metro construction in Mumbai has been a bone of contention between the citizens and authorities ever since it began. Because although everybody is agreed that we want metro lines and we need them, what we did not sign up for is years and years of having very, very high decibel sounds in places which are actually touching people's balconies and buildings, not letting them sleep at night, and creating huge health effects. People have cried on the phone, they have wept, they have begged, they have expressed all kinds of problems. In fact, people who have already suffering health issues like, say, heart issues or other issues, some people say that their health has seriously worsened, and other people claim that their relatives have actually their deaths may have had a contributing factor of this kind of high noise levels. So in the process of doing some kind of good, we are also not taking care of some basic elements. We want world-class infrastructure, but we don't want to have put in the effort and time and money to give world-class infrastructure even at the time of construction. So construction is another huge source of noise, and we are not willing to factor in people's health in this. Festivals, of course, I've talked of festivals. This clanging sounds of the metal being banged against metal again reaches very, very high decibel levels. Apart from the fact that these are very close to residences, they even impact the people making the noise most, because they don't realize that noise and vibration are connected. And vibration runs through your body and affects each and every organ of your body. The Indian Medical Association has said that it can even lead to cancer because all these diseases are cured through vibration and therefore they can also be caused by vibration. We need more studies on this. Firecrackers reached up to 140 decibels when we started measuring them. We found that 100% of crackers violated the maximum permissible noise levels. The Maharashtra Pollution Control Board partnered with us over the last 15 years or so. We've done yearly tests and the levels have reduced. This year we did not do the test with them, but last year we found that only 4 crackers violated the decibel levels rather than 100 out of the 30 plus that we tested. So there's been a huge change, and it's been a national change because the crackers are made for a national audience, all mostly in Shivakasi. So if there's a change in Maharashtra, it affects everyone, and it's been very positive. But there's still a very long way to go because the laws themselves permit crackers, which are hugely in excess of safe levels. Religious places, all religious places are silent zones, but they themselves make the noise which disturb people around them. It's very easy to divide environmental, health, civic issues and make them somehow divisive and communal. Noise is a health and a civic issue. Every person is impacted by noise, whatever community, whatever social economic section he may belong to, whoever he may be. That holds as true for the German who sells horns to India, which he won't use himself, as it does to us who make noise and impact not only others, but our own selves. Each one of us needs to start with ourselves and say, I will do it first. I will lead the way. I will show the example. And then I can ask the other person to do it. It's not up to the other person to do it first. And therefore, I'm standing next to a religious place of my own community. I would like everybody to be part of this and stop using this as an excuse. Global standards, Mumbai has the highest noise levels in the world. The parliament deliberated the new noise rules in 2000, came out with rules which have been mostly observed in the breach, but things are getting better. This is what the noise pollution rules say. In a question to the parliament, the Minister of State said this year that residential noise that the CPCB measured showed 100% breach of the rules. 100%. There was not a single residential area measured where the noise levels came, and this is a rule of 2000. It's been more than 20 years since the rule. This is the Bombay High Court. The courts have been very proactive, given orders. They have helped implement the orders. Of course, people have helped. These are the very early noise readings in 2003 and 4, which we presented to the court. This is again from religious places. We did them across the board, from traffic, from construction, from religious places, from festivals, from whatever we could. Of course, with help from people. No one person or one NGO can tackle every source of noise and be successful. It's people who complained, it's people who made it happen. In fact, it's even people who made me aware of the importance of this issue, which I didn't even know when I started working on this subject. It's they who came forward and told me of their own problems. I saw a woman having a psychotic fit. I saw an infant having convulsions. I saw a man threaten suicide. And people who said that even if I couldn't do anything to help them, at least I was listening. This is the first conference on noise pollution in 2004. I was very pleased that the police and the government participated, even though they did not think it an issue and they thought I was wasting their time. Still, they made the effort to participate. The first No Horn Day in 2008 in Mumbai, the Mumbai police participated. We've had these No Horn Days all over the country after that with many, many organizers, to whom I'm grateful. Noise barriers were put up. The development control plans in Mumbai were changed. Noise barriers were put up for the first time and mandated on all new flyover constructions. I measured them. This is the very first one, which was at BKC. There was a drop of almost 18 decibels, which provided huge relief to residences around. The Indian Medical Association took up this issue, and I hope, and they have been conducting some medical studies. I talked about one study and one input that they gave. There have been many more. With their people tend to listen to doctors, make it a health issue, which it is. Training the police had no idea how to implement the noise rules, although we managed to get court orders. It was very important that the police know how to implement these rules, that they procure decibel meters, which they did. again pursuant to a court order, trained them in their use, and figured out that each and every police station in the whole state of Maharashtra has at least 1 decibel meter, and that they are able to help people who complain. Hearing tests of police showed us that it's not only us, it's the police who stand on these roads, who are forced to accompany these processions, and who are forced in the line of their duty to become deaf. We found more than 70% of the policemen we tested to have significant disabling hearing loss. Thereafter, the Indian Medical Association has conducted larger studies in many other parts of the cities and found also that policemen are very effective. This is the Get Well Soon campaign called and the Stop Horn Flu campaign, which was released with the Police Commissioner of Mumbai and the Indian Medical Association. Youth, I can't stress again and again the importance of youth. They are going to show us how to take these issues further. Without their inputs, it's impossible. So this is speaking to children, to schools who have not only led the way, but have started teaching their parents why they don't want to make noise, and telling their parents that they will not participate in noisy activities. And these are some of the parents and senior citizens who came forward and said, we are listening to our children now. We too are impacted, but we didn't know. The Mumbai Police Commissioner, as I mentioned, released some of the campaigns. The press and media have played an invaluable role. We partnered with the Times of India for 6 months in August of 2016. In Mumbai, they did an almost 3 or 4 times a week campaign for 6 months and concluded with this particular no honking drive. Let's declare independence from honking on Independence Day. This is the Horn Vrat campaign that we did. That's the Transport Secretary and various other people, the Auto Rickshaw Union. Auto rickshaws, it was very interesting because we talked of traffic noise, but they said we are the ones who are exposed to it day and night because we don't have doors and windows, just like slum dwellers don't have doors and windows. So you say we make noise which impacts you, but we say you make noise which impacts us, and you can shut your windows. We can't. So we took a rickshaw, they volunteered to drive it. They drove it all over the city for many months, free of cost as part of their contribution to the awareness cause. There are 150 blow horns, disabled ones, on this auto rickshaw. And the caption says, Mumbai honks 18 million times an hour. Noise levels from traffic, I've already talked about it. This is during lockdown. We measured it every month. You can see in the very first month of lockdown, it reduced from 110 decibel levels or so to 41.7. In the second month, it went up to 56.8, and thereafter it's gone up. It's almost back now to pre-lockdown levels. Noise from construction and religious places during lockdowns, there have been huge complaints because while all of us have been stuck and unable to complain, except during Twitter, there have been exceptions made for construction of infrastructure projects, which have really, really troubled people. And religious places, because audiences have not been able to come to them, have increased their loudspeaker levels to reach a wider audience. It has been my contention that loudspeakers are a technology of the past, many decades, maybe 100 years ago. The world has moved on. We can give religious messages, other messages, civic messages using mediums like what we are doing now. We have learned during lockdown that webinars, that online presence can replace many of these things. And I feel that we can do away with loudspeakers altogether. We can use different forms of communication. And again, this is something where the youth is very, very crucial because they are the ones who know how to use this, who are innovating these technologies, and who can influence their elders, their parents to take up these issues and make sure they happen. Anybody can download a free noise meter on their phone. There are many, many meters available. They have been used to make noise pollution a public movement, to enable people, to empower people to complain to the police. It is not my complaints alone. My complaints may have started it and taught me how to advise people what to do. But again, these apps have not been made by me or ours. They've been made by other people, probably by young people. And we have been making what we call a citizen's noise map of Mumbai, so that people can know what decibel levels are where, what happens, how to complain. It's been my job to coordinate mostly. The work has been done mostly by others, by professionals, by lawyers, pro bono. And that's pro bono because it's such an important issue and they feel for the issue. People ask me again and again, didn't you feel daunted? Didn't you think this is an impossible task? And I feel, well, any task worth doing has to be impossible. Otherwise, you're just following the beaten track. So our most difficult tasks are also our most rewarding. Take up something which is difficult, which seems, but take up something you feel for. Take up something you're passionate about that you know you can, and it doesn't matter what happens. I did not know when I started measuring noise, when people were laughing at me saying, "What do you think you're doing going around the streets measuring noise on a handheld meter? Who's going to take you seriously?" I did not know that noise will become a national issue, that I will be instrumental in policy change, that one day I will talk to the press and media, talk to you guys on the phone, on these kind of webinars or whatever. I did not know that one day I will be featured and that people will say that noise is now the second hand smoke equivalent to tobacco with health effects. So you take up that issue which you think you should take up. I'm sure it will bother someone else. Maybe they haven't just realized it yet. We don't know, whatever that issue may be. So once again, just like the free downloadable uh, noise app changed the way that citizens could engage with noise, give them information about what noise levels they were being exposed to. This is the next step of that. So I end with what I began with, that WHO has just a month or two ago come out with this new app where you can measure your own hearing. You can make the connection between the numbers you are seeing, which is theoretical, and what it means to you personally. And I hope that this app will help you take this issue further, to engage with it, to protect your own health by taking up this issue and taking it further. But I would also like to say in conclusion that if you choose not to take up the issue of noise, that's fine. Take up any issue that you feel passionately for, anything at all. The UNEP has said, apart from what the WHO has said, that all issues are linked. Every single issue is connected, whether they are gender issues, whether they are financial issues, as COVID-19 has proved, whether they are economy, there are food, there anything at all, they are all linked. Noise is a pollutant. There are many other pollutants. And technology, legal issues, every single thing is linked, and every action we take makes a difference. So take positive action. It doesn't matter what you take it on. If you take it on noise, that's great. If you choose something else, that's great too. But it's better to do than not to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Abdul Ali, for giving such a enlightened talk about the noise pollution. But I will just mention one thing. Although you are very modest and you says that it's a teamwork, but all teams require one captain. And I think you are the leader, you are the captain, and under your captainship or the leadership, so many people have joined you. And the way you have motivated and giving the inspirational thoughts today, I'm sure the viewers, all the participants and the viewers who are watching, whether they are youth or whether they are adults or senior citizens, they are found that this is a very, very enlightening talk which you have given. Thank you very much, Ms. Abdul Ali, for giving your opening views about this curbing noise pollution. Now, I would like to invite my youth guest, and my first youth guest is Miss Aditi Vashisht. Miss Aditi Vashisht, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Miss Aditi Vashisht, you have heard what our chief guest, Miss Sumaira Abdul Ali, has spoken. Now, we would like to know from you the role of youth in curbing noise pollution. Miss Aditi Vashisht, please.
So first of all, I would like to introduce myself. I am Aditi Vashisht and I am from NMIMS Mumbai. I am currently residing in Jaipur. I hope I can come to Mumbai soon. Okay. So I'll be speaking now.
You are doing what there?
I am from NMIMS School of Branding and Advertising.
Okay. Please go ahead.
So I recently came across the story of a man named Mark who was from California, which was published in the New Yorker. He was a worker in a very noisy restaurant and said that every time something loud like dropping of a plate happened, he would get a flash of ear pain. Sometimes he thought to himself as to why such sounds don't affect the other workers. Later, his condition worsened, and discomfort from a single incident started lasting for days. He ultimately had to quit his job and later got to know that he was suffering from hyperacusis, which is caused by overexposure to loud sounds, although no one knows why some people are more susceptible to it, and there is no known cure. 48,000 cases of ischemic heart diseases, 12,000 premature deaths, 22 million people suffering from chronic high annoyance, and 50,000 heart deaths happen every year due to noise pollution. Let those numbers sink in. WHO has found out that noise pollution is the second largest contributor to health problems. Youth, being the new age power and the driving force for shaping a nation, has been negligent to such issues. Sadly, the youth is more bothered about finding out what songs are trending on TikTok than being a little aware of the consequences of their actions that lead to such an issue. Unnecessary honking, playing loud music on speakers at night, shouting in order to prove a point are some acts that the youth constantly indulges in without knowing their long term consequences that are far more dangerous than they can imagine. This is why I believe it is high time for them to be responsible for their actions because the future lies in their hands. Noise pollution, as explained by Britannica, is described as unwanted or excessive sound that can have deleterious effects on human health, wildlife, and environmental quality. I would like to explain the effects of noise pollution on an individual's health by taking a very simple daily life example. Let us assume that you came home from work at night after a very tiring day, and just as you were about to go to sleep, your noisy neighbor started playing loud music at a very high volume. What would your first reactions be like? Of course, you would feel frustrated, angry, and stressed because that neighbor ruined your perfectly peaceful sleep. Let us say that you somehow still managed to go back to sleep, but you woke up feeling tired and low on energy. And as a result, you would not be able to focus on your work the next day. How many times have we come across this act of restless sleep due to unwanted noise? Many times for sure. Now, do you know what would be the effect of restless sleep if this cycle continues for several months and your noisy neighbor won't give up on playing loud music at night? This would pose a threat of you suffering from cardiovascular diseases such as a heart attack or stroke. The reason why I chose this example is because the youth frequently participates in such activities which involve playing loud music in parties that go on till 3 a.m., being absolutely unbothered about their surroundings. Another example that we come across daily is of unnecessary honking noises on roads. This comes under traffic noises and can cause stress, high blood pressure, and sometimes even accidents. Young people these days are more focused on flaunting their presence wherever they go, and similar is the case with roads. They keep on honking even when it is not needed, and sometimes even shout at drivers when something isn't their fault. Why do they do that? In simple words, they do that to look cool. My question to the youth population is, can we put aside these acts of looking cool and actually work towards becoming responsible for building our future? How many times have we even bothered to read articles that inform us about threats posed due to factors like noise pollution? It is the need of the hour for us, the youth, to understand the responsibility that has been given to us to shape our nations. Noise pollution is a topic that might seem simple to us right now, but if you closely look at the statistics, you will realize how big of a threat it is to our present and coming generations. It takes one person to take an initiative and the others will follow. So, how can the youth help in curbing noise pollution? The very first step is to be aware of it and have the willingness to take initiatives. We can take a little bit of time out of our schedules to get to know about the organizations that work towards this cause, such as the WHO, and work for them. Let us not honk unnecessarily on roads to mark our presence. Let us not blast off loud music at night, ruining others' people's sleep schedules. Let us not shout at each other to make a point. Not everything is about being loud. Encourage people to buy cars which do not have loud engines. Simple acts like asking for a refund when the volume of the movie being played in a theater is loud can be helpful and make others take initiatives. How often are we able to find silent spaces? Very rarely. Robert Koch once quoted, "One day mankind will fight noise as relentlessly as cholera and the pest." Imagine the life you are creating for yourself and the coming generation in the future. Imagine yourself walking out of your house 10 years from now and all you hear is noise. You wouldn't even need an alarm clock to wake up because the noises would wake you up naturally. Noises from traffic, from people, from industries. It would be chaos everywhere. Imagine having no place to sit in peace away from all the nuisance. Young people suffering from cardiovascular diseases would become common. Shouting will probably become a normal means of communication. It is my plea to the youth to become serious about this issue before everything gets out of control. Let us prove that the future is in the right hands. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Aditi, for giving your very, very good views. Only one thing I would like to add, please check where in the pubs and the disc, what type of decibel there. I'm sure our chief guest one day should also give the meter reading of the pubs and the disc where the sound is unbearable. And I think only the youths are going, people like us are not going there. So please see to it that if you are going to a pub or a disc, you must be careful, because today you are enjoying, but tomorrow what will be the future, as you have already mentioned, so I need not to repeat it. Thank you very much, Ms. Aditi, for giving very good views. Now I would like to invite my next guest, and he is Mr. Abhishek Ji. Mr. Abhishek, please unmute yourself. Mr. Abhishek, you have heard our chief guest, Ms. Sumaira Abdul Ali, as well as our earlier youth guest. Now we would like to know from you the role of youth in curbing noise pollution. Mr. Abhishek Ji, please.
Good morning to all the guests and fellow participants and all the viewers. My name is Abhishek Kaji. Currently, I am pursuing MSc Biosciences at Mangalore University, Karnataka. Today, I am here to share my views on the topic, role of youth in curbing the noise pollution. Before getting into the topic, I just want to give brief introduction about sound and noise. Sound is a common term or a common activity which we'll observe in our nature, which we hear and which is pleasant to our ears. Whereas noise is unwanted sound which creates a lot of disturbances and stress to our ears and which results in noise pollution. And what are the adverse effects of this noise pollution? This noise pollution majorly causes so many health related issues like cardiovascular diseases, stress, hypertension. Not only on humans, it causes so many adverse effects on wildlife and also on aquatic life. What youth can do to curb noise pollution? Youth should understand causes of noise pollution. They should find out sources of noise pollution in the area where they're living. It is important to find out sources, because without finding out sources, it is very difficult to curb the noise pollution. We have so many sources, natural sources as well as man-made sources. Whereas in case of natural sources, we cannot say it as a noise because it is very pleasant. Say, for example, sound coming from river and also from birds and also from the waves of ocean. It is natural. We cannot do anything about it. Whereas we have man-made sources where we can do something about it. Say, for example, industries and also vehicles and also like music instruments. We can do something about it. From where should we start? We should start from our home itself. We should make our home noise free. We should make sure that our environment around our home, people around our home, they are not facing any issues because of the noise we are creating. Whatever the instruments we use in our home, they should be noise free. This is the first step we need to take. And when it comes to society, we'll organize so many social events which will make so much of noise. What can we do about it? We can organize such social events in a big halls which are of soundproof, which makes really a big difference in the society. Instead of organizing them in open spaces, we can organize them in a halls, which makes which makes really an effective way to organize the events and which doesn't cause any noise in the society. In a similar way, what we can do, you should understand the consequences first. Okay, we have found out the sources and what are all we are doing. They should understand consequences. After understanding consequences, they should start creating awareness in the people, which is an important step. Yes, we can do some actions, but creating awareness in the age people of all age groups is very important, because nowadays what happening is people are not considering noise as a major issue. They're like, okay, noise, okay, something with their adjust, they're getting adjusted to it. It should not happen. They should consider it as a serious threat and they should start doing something about it in schools, and in some social platforms, social media, they should start creating awareness about it. By all these means, we can do something to curb noise pollution. And one day we can make all the places eco-friendly. We should plant more trees as possible so that they absorb more noise. And this is how these are all the different means, and youth play an important role to curb noise pollution. Thank you so much for giving opportunity to share my views to curb noise pollution.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abhishek. Although you have given very good views, but one thing you should also understand, you said the functions can be organized in the hall. That's fine. It will not create a noise pollution for the society. But what about those who are attending that function? What about their health? So we have to see to it, even if you are organizing a function in a hall, the volume or the sound should be in the within decibel limit. It should not exceed the decibel limits. Otherwise, it is going to harm those who are attending the programs.
Yes,
anyway,
yes,
thank
thank
you very much,
Thank you.
Abhishek, for giving your views. Now, I would like to invite my next guest, and he's Mr. Anandu Krishnan. Mr. Krishnan, you have heard our chief guest, Ms. Sumaira Abdulali, as well as the earlier youth guest. Now, we would like to know from you the role of youth in curbing noise pollution. Mr. Krishnan, please.
Anandu Krishnan, I'm from Kottayam, Kerala. I'm doing my master's on physics. So our topic is role of youth in curbing noise pollution. So we know the noise pollution is what is noise pollution is like. It is an unwanted or disturbing sound that affects the health and as well as humans as well as organisms. And the hearing loss is the major concern. But matter how loud, that is the matter. But in the case, the noise pollution also affects the other health issues like anxiety, depression, and as well as in the sleep. Okay, the topic is the role of youth. So we are the people who are use vehicles most. We are the people who go for modified silence and honks. We are the people who want to listen loud music. So we must rethink. Okay, so first we must rethink and we change in small ways. That is a big manner. Okay, the first case, respect our neighbors' right to quiet, keep our stereos, radios, and also television to turn down. Be mindful about our noise. So, and also plant trees and also use sound absorbing materials in industries and also homes. And also youth have a role to educate friends and neighbors about hazards of noise. A youth have a vital role to play in reduce our noise pollution because we have a chance to renew or refresh our society from the current status. So we do many small things and make a big change. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Krishnan, for giving your views. Yes, you are right that youth can play a very, very important role. It was seen on the roads many times. They take out the silencers from their bike just to show off. And that also is creating lots of noise pollution. Although nowadays the police department is taking very serious action against those youths, but still, if all of you understand that this is not a good thing, what you are doing is harming others, even it is harming your own eardrums. Thank you very much, Mr. Krishnan, for giving your views. Now I would like to invite my next guest, and she is Miss Deepika Ralan. Miss Deepika Ralan, you have heard our chief guest, Ms. Sumaira Abdulali, as well as you have heard earlier youth guests. Now, I'd like to know from you the role of youth in curbing noise pollution. Ms. Deepika Relan, please.
You cannot get the real peace without keeping quiet. Hello friends, I am Deepika Relan, a life skill coach and a public speaking skill trainer. I am from Delhi, and here in Delhi, we heard lots of voice from a neighbor and in our society as well. But I wanted to take you on the other side. Today, everyone is talking about the outside voice, the outer voice. But I want you to just think about your inner voice. What do you want in your life? What are the kind of peace that you want in your life? that makes sense for you as a person. Like if you go inside your brain and you will find there are lots of things which is going on. But what if you are not able to listen them properly? Because of the outer noise, we are not able to concentrate on the inner things. And for that, we have to be keep calm and listen to our inner voice. Today, the youth is really noisy. And I must say, they want to do so much in life. And for that, they are just going to the pub, looking here and there, going on a road, keep on honking on a traffic. So much of things are there, but they never look inside. So just imagine the time when we all in a lockdown. Try to remember the time when we all in a lockdown and there was no noise pollution. As ma'am has said, the noise pollution has reduced so much. So just close your eyes and imagine the time. I can hear the voice of birds around me, not my neighbor voice, even though. So that kind of peace we required, that kind of peace we required from ourselves. And everything starts from you. Everything starts from us. If I'm not going to change myself, nobody will do. If you wanted to change the society, first lead by the example. So our country, every country has the most of the segment youth population. Yet, and then the youth are the only one who can bring the change in the society. Now, the question here is what kind of peace that you require for yourself. You know what? The body get also polluted from the noise, like air, water, and everything. So stop polluting your brain, stop polluting your body, stop polluting the environment, stop making the unnecessary noise that doesn't need it. You actually find the noise, like if I'm talking about here, Delhi, everybody who's going around here in the street, there are lots of people who keep on shouting for vegetables, for fruits, for any other stuff. So that also makes the voice pollution. That also makes, but nobody will bother about it. Everybody's like, okay, that's a very quiet voice. But that small parts will make a big noise at some point, right? So what we need to do, we just need to keep upon looking at the society, what we can do for it. Like we should not honk when we are standing anywhere because people are honking when they want someone to call from the house. So they keep on honking. Other will get disturbed. There are people who are below the, who are above the age of 90s and they really need the mental peace. They really need that peace. And you, if are not understanding this thing at this particular time, then you will going to face all those things in your own time. So stop doing it. I have seen many people around here are whenever they drive and they back their car, they have some kind of noise. And that noise is really disturbing. So these small things, if you work upon these particular things, it will really benefit for the society, for your generation and for the generation who's coming next. You are the one who can teach other people. So work upon small things. Everything will be taken care if we start contributing from our end. So like everybody knows that the noise remains the third largest cause of environment pollution. We all wanted to save the environment, but we do not wanted to do anything for that. We are thinking it's really small thing, but small thing does matter. Even though if I talk about human beings and animals as well, the sound really affect the animals. The noise pollution has a negative impact on the wildlife species by reducing the habitat quality, increasing stress level, and that stress actually harm your mental level and the body as well. So please, it's a request that look around for the people who need it and for your own self, and to plant more trees, make your environment green. If you ever imagine, if you ever go to the park and you feel that air, that vibes in the garden, you will feel that purity because of the environment, because the plants were there. So that is really helpful for you. Just plant one on your birthday, on like plant one tree on your birthday, and it will really helpful for you and your coming next generation. Thank you so much, and please do work on it.
Thank you very much, Ms. Deepika. Yes, very good suggestion about that planting a tree on a birthday. Yes, the plants gives as well as that it's a really very good thing for the environment. And as per the report that 5 to 10 decibel sound levels goes down. So if you people will concentrate on even try to have more and more tree plantation done by youth, definitely we can achieve, and especially a city like Delhi, which requires all these types of greenery very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Deepika, for giving your views. Now, I would like to invite my next youth guest, and she is Ms. Harmanth Kaur. Ms. Kaur, you have heard our chief guest, Ms. Sumaira Abdul Ali, as well as you have heard all earlier youth guests. Now, we would like to know from you your views on the role of youth in curbing noise pollution. Ms. Kaur, please.
First of all, a very good morning to Lal sir and to a respected chief guest, Sumaira ma'am. I am Harmanat Kaur, currently studying in class 11, Carmel Convent School, and I am from Mohali, Punjab. I would like to thank sir for giving me this beautiful opportunity to speak on role of youth in curbing noise pollution. So first of all, I want to raise a very basic question, and that is, how can we reduce noise pollution? If I would ask this question from the youth, they will give the answer in a very scientific way, as if they're giving a theoretical exam, I would say. They will say we can reduce noise pollution by not listening to music on loudspeakers, not blowing horns unnecessarily, and etc. like they've studied in their school life. But have they actually applied this practically in our environment? Some of them may have, and some of them may not. So for example, if 30% citizens are not helping in curbing noise pollution, then other people will say, so what? There are only 30% who are not helping in reducing noise pollution. Rest 70% are doing their job carefully. So why to worry? But I would like to tell them that this 30 is also a very big number and that they can give harm to youngsters and senior citizens. So how do we tell them about this? It is through awareness, of course. No doubt, many schools have been opened in rural areas too, but studies often seem to be a boring stuff these days. The study of noise reduction in schools not only should emphasize the theoretical aspects of the subject, but the pragmatic aspect too. Now, I want to tell an example of my own, which I faced during lockdown last year. Everyone knows during lockdown, nobody was allowed to go out of their places. So naturally, people had to celebrate their occasions at home itself. One fine day, I just went downstairs like just for a regular walk. As soon as I stepped out of the lift, I just heard a loud music coming from a house on ground floor. I was about to inform the guard, but then I just ignored. I hoped they would turn off the loudspeaker very soon. After an hour or so, the music turned out to be too loud that it could even be heard on the top floor. And frankly speaking, the music was so rough and displeasing. We can even celebrate our occasions by listening to music on low volume. That's not a big deal. We can easily avoid such noisy activities. Just imagine that night, most of the people might not have proper sleep. This may have caused sleeping or behavioral disorders in them. So because of only one person, so many families had to suffer. This is where our practical minds come. If the school must have taught how to reduce noise pollution and maintain a peaceful environment practically, then that guy must have not committed such a mistake. Now, on the other hand, the child who has not studied anything about noise will just roam unaffected by the laws conceived through him. Eventually, the person who has studied about noise will be considered a better citizen just because he has a better understanding of environmental education. So youth is the backbone of any nation and the most vibrant human resource that can take the nation on the path of sustainability and inclusive growth as well. However, the role of youth in noise reduction and extent of their ability to get involved are not always clear. But there are cases when youth are taking actively responsibility for noise reduction. So the biggest role that the youth can play is to create mass awareness among themselves only. Because awareness plays a vital role in the success of any initiative and takes it to the logical conclusion. Now, people who have pets and are animal lovers should keep in mind that the noise made by you can even be harmful for your pets too. They can behave more aggressively when exposed to loud music for a longer duration. We should be more careful, especially on festivals. Bursting of crackers on various festivals is the most common source of noise pollution and contributes in scaring the animals away in a very inhuman condition. People just want happiness in the festivals and not a hard and fast rule. Like if it is Diwali, then we have to burst crackers. No, that can be easily avoided. At the end of the day, we should always remember that we must keep our noise down, or the noise will keep us down. Thank you so much.
What Ms. Kaur has mentioned, I will just say one thing, that she has mentioned about the education, the basic education about the noise. I am sure our chief guest, when she has done so much work, why not she also design some write-ups or the things which can be inserted in the textbooks of the primary schools, because if we will create the awareness from the very starting, from the 3rd or 4th or 5th standard, then the value of the noise pollution or the harms of the noise pollution will come to know by the students on a very, very young age. And I'm sure the youth can very well play a very, very important role. Thank you very much, Ms. Kaur, for giving your views. I'm really sorry that my net has given this problem at the last moment. Now, I would like to invite my next guest, the youth guest, and she is Miss Niharika B. Miss Niharika B, you have heard what our chief guest, Miss Sumaira Abdulali, has spoken, and the earlier youth guest. Now, we would like to know from you your views on the role of youth in curbing noise pollution. Miss Niharika.
My name is Niharika, and I'm from SMBITM College of Engineering. I'm pursuing my 3rd year in Electronics and Communication. I'm from Udupi. Okay. So we all know that the noise pollution is an invisible form of pollution. That is, unlike other types of pollution, that is air and water or other symptoms, you cannot see it. Like in noise pollution, you cannot see any symptoms because all these pollution effects are all on the long term. For example, if you are affected by air or water pollution, you can see cough, allergy, diarrhea, and many other such symptoms. So it's always important to give more importance to such invisible form of problems that we face day-to-day life, such as noise pollution. Now, coming to youth, a study was once conducted on youth and adults in a school in Curitiba. So 20% of the participants, they complained of health problems. The surprising fact is many of them identified the symptoms that could be related to loud noise, such as they had anxiety, they had stress, they had fatigue, they had nervousness and irritability. Some mentioned even hearing symptoms such as tinnitus, hearing loss, and difficulty in understanding the speech, but none of them, they could associate it with the symptoms of their exposure. That was the problem. So nevertheless, the number of respondents were unaware of the effects of noise. That were 70% of the participants, they were unaware of the effects of noise. And out of them, 72% of them did not even protect themselves from such noise. Now, studies conducted in Brazil and all around the world, they show that strategies to change concepts, it consequently changes behavior, it pervades with the basic curriculum. So whenever a government or any such activists, they try to change the perception or they try to change their views on the problem, the main problem everybody faces is that the textbook curriculum. So every time the curriculum doesn't support with such changes. So in the research, they conducted this research in school and the teacher's report showed that the subject appears in the school program and noise pollution is also a topic of the discussion, but this topic of the discussion is because of the teacher's initiative. But the school and the students were uninterested. So this is the problem. They know that noise is a problem. They know that it's a major problem. And even it is also listed in one among the different types of pollution, air pollution, water pollution, even noise pollution is also there. But people aren't taking it seriously. This is one of the major problems. Their lack of interest may be more of a reflection of the superficially with the issue we are addressing it, because we are just seeing the tip of the iceberg. We are not getting the full measure of it. Why? Because we are Homo sapiens and currently we are the ones who are dominating the planet. But that's why we are not getting the full measure of the problem. But actually the real victims of noise pollution are not us. They are the animals. Why? Because we have the auditory range of frequency from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, but animals can hear frequencies of noise up to 300,000 hertz. We are not completely getting the effect of noise pollution, right? So that's why maybe it's our negligence towards this problem. But as I said, for animals, it's a very huge problem. This affects the behavior, their fitness, and even the breeding and growth of animals also. And what happens is naturally they move out of their natural habitat and gradually they become extinct. So coming to youth, India is a country with a population of 356 million youth people, and it tops the list of world's largest youth population. We can use social media, NGOs, and other tools to spread awareness among people for noise pollution. And even government is also supporting such individuals. For example, I think we have all heard of Ravi Kalra. He is the founder of Earth Savior Foundation, and he is also popularly called as the no honking man of India. And he hasn't honked in around 28 years. He says that he has been driving for more than 28 years and he has never found the reason to use the horn, and he has never had an accident either. And he says of his personal experience that he has visited many countries and he has found that people do not honk unnecessarily on the roads anywhere in the world. Even Indians, it's not about something that happens in India. Even Indians who drive in foreign countries, it's not about Indians, our mindset, because Indians who are driving in foreign countries also, they have automatically tuned themselves to avoid honking. So he also takes care of this person. He also takes care of abandoned cattle, dogs, and other animals, because,
Brief.
as I said, we are taking the full measure of the problem. It's the animals who are affected. So major problem what we can see in a country like India, as our guest speaker rightly said, that Mumbai honks around 18 million times an hour. The problem with us, with youth especially, is that we don't have patience. Our problem is we get irritated too soon. What is now called as instant gratification, what we call instant gratification, is that we want something. Suppose if I want to know something, I open Google, I text, I find out, and I get to know the information instantly. Suppose I want to share something with my friend, I open WhatsApp or any other social media and share it. What I would like to tell is to curb such problem like irritability, we have natural methods like yoga. It is a very ancient form in India, and it is also gaining a lot of importance in the Western culture, but Indians, we are ignoring it. So to fight against such problems, yoga is one good way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Niharika. Yes, rightly said, the honking is a problem in India. In abroad, you will have to just hear only the sounds of the ambulances there. Otherwise, you will not find any other honking in other countries. While in India, except the sound of ambulance, we hear everything. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to invite my last but not the least guest, and she is Miss Lilia S. Abraham. Miss Lilia S. Abraham, you have heard our chief guest, Miss Sumaira Abdulali, as well as all the earlier youth guests. Now, you'd like to know from you the role of youth in curbing noise pollution. Miss Lilia Sarah Abraham, please.
Thank you, sir. And I'm assistant professor working at Naibunya School of Management in Kerala. Respected Lal Goyal sir, chief guest, Sumaira ma'am, Paul sir, and my dear friends. So thank you for this opportunity. And I would like to start by saying, like, just close your eyes and listen to the world around us. So if you're outside, you would be hearing sounds of traffic or wind, or you might even hear the snippets of conversations. But if you're inside a building, you might hear the phone ring or the ticking sound of the clock or the fan humming. All these sounds you might hear. So you might be wondering, what is the difference of noise and sound? So when it comes to sound, it is pleasant to hear, and when it comes to noise, it is unpleasant to hear. And this sound would be having a constant pitch, whereas noise will have a variable pitch. So any sound more than 85 decibels for a prolonged period of time will be a disturbance, will be irritable for a person. But then when we think about a world without noise, how boring it would be. We won't be able to understand things. So at the same time, when we think of a world without sound or noise, that is also not good. I would say some example, like I have some friends who are housewives now. Not during this time, this COVID time, the whole family will be at home. But before COVID, nobody might not be there at home. Their husband and kids will go to, husband will go for work and kids will go to school. At that time, they will switch on this TV and just leave it for some time. So they will feel like the house is active, the whole house is active, and the sound is there. And also, even in films, certain scenes, the impact will be there only if the sound effects are there. The impact will come to the audience. But when this noise be a disturbance, when it crosses a certain level, it will become a nuisance, it will become an irritation. So when we talk about noise pollution, first thing come to my mind is traffic. So rather than this rolling and propulsion, I did my master's in Tamil Nadu. So there are government buses there. So when compared to Kerala, we have private buses as well. So here, when some buses would they will have time clash. So what happens is that they will start competing. So while competing, they will not even be careful about the people or the traffic or the surrounding around. The most disadvantage is that the horns will be like too loud, and it will actually hit our ears, like our eardrums are going to burst. So this is, I won't say that it's their mistake, 100% mistake. This is lack of awareness. So it is our duty, or as a youth, it's our duty to give awareness to people, like how it will affect each and every people, and this will cause stress in people, and this stress can cause sleeplessness. So we can imagine how sleeplessness would affect us. And if our house is near a railway station, the railway station, when a train is running, the whole plot or house would vibrate. When a bus is passing, the windows will vibrate. We can understand that. So as the technology is increasing, people are liking it. Why? Because their life is getting better, life is getting easier. But we are not thinking about the disadvantage of these threats. We are not even thinking of these threats. We are going with the flow. We are happy with these developments, whereas we are not thinking about these threats which affect our health. So in 2017, World Health Organization done a research in Europe, and they found out that noise from road traffic is the second most harmful environment stresses. So this will cause different health problems like cardiovascular diseases, hypertensions, and cognitive impairment, and all these things it can cause. And what they did is that they researched on this and prepared a noise map, and this helped them to identify which are the areas prone more to noise pollution. And they created an action plan. So their motto was to control noise from the source. So what they did is that introducing low noise road surfaces, quieter aircrafts, and railway tracks, then railway stocks, and improving urban designs to reduce traffic volumes, and restricting housing and colonies in noise polluted areas or noise prone areas. So rather than this traffic, there are n number of sources which produces noise pollution, which we are not even aware about. We are getting used to it. We have no problem about it, like construction equipment, outdoor equipment, leaf blowers, loud music, growing population, overcrowding, and also the headphones. Even I am using a headphone now, but then we have to use headphones in a lower volume. Otherwise, it is near, really near to our eardrums. So we have to be careful. We have to use it in a comfortable way, and increase infrastructure, constructional sites, and heating system, light humming sounds. All these things are existing, and this will affect the children, infants, and adults, and even the fetus. So how it affects is that it creates elevated heart rates and increased stress level, and also sleeplessness, which cause irritability, which I have already mentioned. And mainly it focuses on learning disabilities. So the concentration problems, the stress level, so high blood pressure, all these things are one of the causes. And what youth can do as an immediate solution is that they should switch off the appliances if they are not using it. We can switch off the appliances, and reduce the volume of the TV, and then eat food which increase your
Please be
hearing
brief.
ability. Yes, sir. Okay. So to recapitulate what I have said, I will just say it in 6 points so that we can able to recollect. Just 6 points. That is like, use appliances only when required, because when we are not using it also, it produces sound.
Give the points only. Yes, please.
Yes. Okay, sir. Then trade the noise type, which means that you should hear pleasant music so that it will boost your energy. Then plant trees. Trees are very good source of reducing this noise pollution. And be mindful of your own noise, which means you should make sure that you are not disturbing others, and use soundproof materials for building. And finally, exercise and meditation will help us a lot to be physically, mentally, and emotionally healthy. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ibrahim. You have made a very good point about the railway tracks and the sound from the aeroplanes. I would like to tell only one thing, that when we purchase the flat, we always want to be near the track, so that the railway station, so that it will be convenient, but we never think about our own health.
Yes,
And
yes.
similarly, in other countries, there is no flights in the night time, especially in the big cities. So that's why in India, we are having more noise pollution. Now, I would like to thank you very much. So now I would
Thank
like
you,
to
sir.
invite our chief guest to give her concluding remark about today's conference. Ms. Sumaira Abdulali, please. Please unmute.
I mean, I was really happy to hear the views of all these young people and to know that they have done so much work and research on figuring out things. And so I'll go back to what I started with, that they are the ones who are going to teach us. And I'll share a story with you about what happened with the Maharashtra government, that when we were taking up the issue of firecrackers, and it was very difficult to communicate this message to the elder people: don't use crackers, because after all, crackers are used to show happiness, celebration, whatever you want to do, whether it's a cricket match or it's your birthday or it's Diwali or anything else. So the education department of the BMC decided that they would hold an awareness campaign in all schools of Maharashtra, which they did prior to Diwali. And the firecracker campaign has succeeded because the youth started explaining, the young people started explaining to their parents. When the parents said, come on, abhi Diwali hai, let's celebrate, young people said they would rather donate the firecracker money to social causes. So while it's true that there are many problems with the youth, they are also our hope. And I think that especially the younger youth, and what you said and what one of the speakers said so importantly about educating the youth at a very young age. In ancient times, we talked very briefly about Rome. Another practice in Rome was to use arsenic and lead in face powder to make your skin white. Today, to use lead on your face is just an unthinkable kind of a thing. And so to use firecrackers which contain lead and arsenic and other materials and burst them, even apart from the noise pollution, and give them in the hands of children is so unthinkable that we will look back in future and think that, how could we even do such a thing? And again, it's the youth who are going to be impacted the most, because they have longer lives than we have. They have a longer lifespan ahead of them, and they are going to live with the effects of what we do. They are also the ones who drive these technological changes. For example, firecrackers can be controlled in many ways, but in one of the ways, possibly, we don't even have these, at scale, these kind of technologies, is that we could use e-crackers, which have been used in other parts of the world, which do not create noise and air pollution, and which still give you beautiful displays. But these things have to be mainstreamed, have to be used. And again, it's the youth who are going to drive these kind of innovations. I talked about using technological platforms instead of loudspeakers, but there are many other solutions which we can't even think about. So again, thank you so much to all you young people for coming out there, for telling us about the problems, for telling us about your problems. But I also think that the solution is with you, and you need to give yourself more credit for holding those solutions and for being able to implement them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Abdulali, for giving your very, very enlightening and motivational views. I'm sure today's media conference has enlightened all the youths who have participated, as well as those who are watching our shows. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, as well as was shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor is to bring to you every day a new topic. But in the evening, we have already started one Hindi program of half an hour for last 3 weeks. And the program is called Kal Aaj aur Kal Lal Goyal Ke Sang, in which we call one achiever. And that achievers, we will take the history or the audio biography. And today's our chief guest is Mr. D.P. Sharma. He's the president of Organ Donation India Foundation North Zone, and he's also the general secretary All India Indian LPG Gas Distributors Association. So today he's joining at 4:30 p.m. So please tune in today for the Kal Aaj aur Kal Lal Will Ke Sang at 4:30 p.m. Thank you very much, all the youth guests, and thank you very much, our chief guest, Miss Sumaira Abdul Ali, for giving such a nice views, motivational and inspirational. And we wish you all the best. And then we hope that the efforts which you are doing to curb the noise pollution will definitely will give the fruits very soon in the near future. Thank you all, and thank you all the viewers for watching our show. Thank you very much.